needed to deliver to our customers. That's not Rocky Mountain Power's responsibility. That's our responsibility. Okay, so we had some renderings done as well of what the power line will look like as proposed. And so we had a firm that specializes in these renderings. They get very good reviews of, doing a rendering and then coming back after the fact and the rendering being very close to actual. And so we had, the firm took camera vantage points from these 4 spots on the map of the proposed
Jason, hang on one second. How many folks are in the hallway? I don't know if you want to step in here to see this. Can you see it on your phones? Can you see
There's more chairs in the back corner and a few empty.
Yeah, there's a couple chairs in here, and I don't know. This part you might want to see.
Can we turn the lights down?
Just probably pull these chairs and put them on this side, this wall.
Lights are the overhead one. The overhead one, right next to the screen. That was right down there.
Can you get this one on?
Bart, try that there.
Beautiful.
Are we ready? So the renderings were done on these 4 viewpoints. And so the first one is looking down Highway 40 towards the intersection of State Road 32. And this is the way it looks right now. And this is what it would look like with the proposed line. The next one is in the North Fields, and that's what it looks like today. And with the proposed line, that's what it would look like.
Jason, I've seen these pictures, and I think it's important they pull back so that you can see the poles. And see how many poles there are. But I'm going to ask Jason to go to that one picture where it shows all the wires close up.
Okay. So this is on 650 South, looking back east in Heber. So on the intersection of Southfield Road and 650 South, that's what it looks like today with the 46 kV line. And this is what we are proposing.
So that's the close-up of how many lines there will be with 2 138 kV lines.
Okay.
It's hard to see that at the Northfields picture because their purpose or their objective was to show how many poles. Now, again, I'm not, and this is in the interest of pure transparency. So, Jason, now will you scroll, with this thought in mind, now we scroll back up to what's proposed in the Northfields.
Okay.
So you see the poles, but you don't necessarily see the wires in this picture, and I think we need to know what is being proposed.
You see the wires on this far left one.
How far away is the picture?
This was taken at that intersection just south of the North 40, or yeah, just southwest of the North 40, that intersection, and what would it be, 600 south or 600 west in kind of the Heber area.
It's looking south.
It's looking south.
Yeah, we know which way it's looking.
In that intersection.
Is there a quick question?
So do you have a photo of the poles, the new poles on 40, so we can see actually, because those poles, they seem like a lot further apart on these pictures than the actual ones on
Jason, can you
40.
address that?
So do you have a?
Yeah, so on North 40, because of the curvature of the highway and us being in the UDOT easement, we had to, put those close as the radius determined us we needed to be engineering-wise. And so once we leave 40 and can go to typical straight line tangent construction and off of that radius, we will be able to go to wood poles. And also the spacing gets a little further apart.
How far apart?
I don't have that answer right now,
But
but
these are to scale though, so this is.
this is to scale, yes.
This is how many
So
poles.
just farther than they are at 40, but it would look like this, is what you're saying.
And the wood poles, how do they compare this way to what's on 40? How big around are the wood poles?
They're more natural looking and they're not, the diameter of them is a little bit less, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's 650 South again. And by the way, anybody who wants to look at these more, they're on our website as well. So, this is looking west on Ward Lane. So this is at the intersection of Ward Lane and Stringtown looking west in Midway, yeah. And this is what it looks like today. So this is today's look at it with the 46 kV line that's on Ward Lane. And this is what it would look like with the 138 dual circuit kV. So,
Where's the corner pole on that?
Yeah.
the corner pole would be directly behind it on the other side of Stringtown Road.
That's the one that would be so big?
Yeah, that would be a bigger one.
In front of the house.
Isn't that because it's changing directions?
Yeah, it's changing direction right there.
Will Rocky Mountain Power or Heber Light Power oversee tree trimming on these lines? It looks like in the images projected on the screen, it looks like the vegetation is right up to the line. Rocky Mountain Power requires a 55-foot easement to maintain clearances and vegetation.
You have a question, Jason?
Yeah, vegetation would be cleared out there.
Not much.
So has that been discussed yet about who would be in charge of that? Whether it would be Rocky Mountain Power or Heber Light Power would be in charge of taking care of those trees, and how much is?
On the dual circuit side of the line, it would be, because of the joint use agreement, anything on our circuit's 46 kV side would be cleared by us. Everything on the 138 kV side would be cleared by them.
It seems like kind of an impractical way to do it.
Probably is.
So we can maybe refine some.
We could probably refine that a little bit more with a tree trimming contract. Yeah, but that's just how it's spelled out in the joint use agreement right now.
So that would look like a bald head in that line that follows the new lines? Because they would trim it all over down and around.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that some more. I don't think we have that exactly figured out, but that's what it says in the existing one, but we can talk more about that one.
So
All right,
can you
thank you.
clarify the width of the tree trimming? Because right now, HLP has I think it's a 20-foot clearance requirement. These Rocky Mountain Power lines are 138 kV, so they're required to meet federal reliability standards that include broader clearance margins. So I'm kind of confused when you say one side of the line will be maintained by HLP and one will be maintained by Rocky Mountain Power, because of the federal law, Rocky Mountain Power is required to clear an easement area of vegetation on both sides of its line.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I heard most of it. They operate under a different rule book than us. They're regulated by as a transmission company, so their clearances would be probably a little bit stricter than ours, and we would probably have to adjust our policy to make sure that they were in compliance.
So we'll have to put this on the agenda, so, because that's the first, we haven't discussed this yet as a board, but we can get this on the agenda, be able to educate the board and see if there's things that maybe we want to work out with them in that contract. But yeah, you're probably right, there's federal standards that we haven't even talked about, as far as this board that I'm aware of, since I've been on the board, so. Okay, we'll let, go ahead, Jason. Thank you.
I have one quick question, just for clarification on the density of the power lines. And you were saying they were determined by the radius and the need for more poles to come around that radius. Yet from Coyote Lane into Heber City, the gateway of Heber City, they were replaced pole by pole.
Yes.
Pole for pole, I should say. And I was just curious, that seems to be a pretty straight shot as to why that hideous density had to be employed.
Artie, do you need people to state their name?
My name is Wade Hanson. I own property coming in right by there. I think I'm the most impacted of anybody by these power lines.
Yeah, the radius is just there throughout 40. I'd probably pull it up
So is
on
the
the map.
question, do I understand the question correctly? You're asking why coming from Coyote down to 40, they were replaced pole for pole? There is no
Coyote
radius.
Line south into the...
Is there a radius there, or is that a straight shot, Jason?
It's a pretty straight shot, it seems to me.
Yeah, I mean, from our engineering, there's just a continual radius, and they were replaced pole for the most part. Spans did get, I think one pole out of, a mile span or something different. It wasn't very much. But, I mean, they were wood poles and we had them guide, and we went back into steel poles where there were no guides, and the radius is there, however slight, it doesn't matter when you're building a pole line. You've got to equate for the radius, or else the pole just gets pulled into it.
So you understand the guys, those are the wires that come down, and when they replace those wooden poles with the steel poles, which, can I see a show of hands, does anyone like them?
No.
We hate those steel poles, right? So we're working on other options. But the wires that came down from the wood poles went away when the steel poles came. So there was a trade-off there. Right? Is that understood? I don't know that did we still really need that many steel poles? I think that's the question.
Yeah,
Jason, the other issue we had out there is we had existing customers on almost every pole that was out there that we still had to maintain service to, going up Highway 40. I mean, almost every pole out there had a customer that we still had to continue service to. That's why we were unable to, one of the main reasons we couldn't lengthen them. And then the reason for the steel poles is that's what we were required by Wasatch County Planning Commission. That was one of their conditions on our conditional use permit.
Okay.
I have a question about the renderings.
Right.
It can be,
I think we're gonna have to, well, just is it a quick question on the renderings? We gotta stay on.
yeah, I'm just wondering if they're going to be recreated so that they're accurate and reflect the standards required with Rocky Mountain Power in terms of the vegetation around the poles.
Okay, so what was your name?
Nicole Chastain.
Nicole what?
Chastain.
Nicole Chastain has asked a question if we are going to recreate these drawings to show the vegetation impact when these lines are in place. And to my knowledge, this hasn't been discussed yet. Has it been discussed among staff? So we will put that on our list of things that we need to talk about and look at it. So thank you. All right, Jason.
So let's alluded to this, but prior to talking about cost impact, I think it's important that we discuss this. So Rocky Mountain Power we did all of our dollar math for what it would, how it would impact on rates based on this state statute, which is conditions on siting of facilities by local government. Basically says that the government may require a condition on the construction of a facility, but the local government pays for the actual excess cost of it. And also, with respect to a transmission line, standard cost is the cost of any overhead line constructed in accordance with the public utilities normal practice. And if you scan down on this, you will see that also in this state law, there is transmission line is 34,000 volts or above. So that's where this falls into. They are an overhead company, transmission company, and so we based our numbers in the, the estimated rate impact based on this state statute, meaning that they would pay for 80% of an overhead line, and so we put the rest of the costs into our rate impact.
Okay, we're gonna have to hold off on the comments and then we can take some at the end, just so we can get through his presentation.
So the underground cost study was done by NEI. They had recently done an underground project for Lower Valley using basically kind of the same thing. So they ended up being kind of low cost, lower cost than some of the others because they had recently completed an underground project up in Lower Valley, which was dual circuit 115 kV construction. And so
Just for clarification, Lower Valley is the area by Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
yeah, they did that in Teton. So in Teton Village is where they did this underground project that I'm referring to. So executive summary is basically that it's very important to note that this is plus or minus 30% on the cost estimates. And so we would consider this a level 3 study. And these are the segments and the segment values, as well as doing a study with no segments, or going from Highway 40 all the way to Midway going underground. The study itself, it's about 4.5 times as much to go underground as it is overhead, and that's what the study showed. There are a few segments where that goes up, and that's due to the directional boring required in those segments. So in certain segments, they have included the estimate for the directional boring, and that's under major rivers, wastewater ditches, and major roadways. The study is assuming that by going underground, we would be able to dig through like driveways and those types of things. Everything else would be bored. So you can see the segment breakout in the study as well. Each segment that I showed you on the map got studied as far as what the overhead cost would be and also what the underground cost would be. So the cost proportions. As you can see, the majority of the cost is in the cable and the duct bank. So that's in segment 1.
Which cost is this under or over? Underground or overground, or is it matter?
This is underground.
Thank you.
So once again, overhead to underground cost, you can see, you know, this is basically the same table as the executive summary. I think in the cost analysis, as far as rate impact, we studied segments 2.
Jason, before you go any further, I'm wondering if perhaps this is where the misunderstanding comes. Underground, 138 kV, the fourth column over third, depending on how you're reading it, 136 kV and 46 kV separate trench. I'm wondering if that's where that misunderstanding stems from. Could you explain why it's phrased that way?
It's because we can't share vaults. So whenever because we're 2 separate utilities, we can't share vaults, and it's also 2 separate circuits. So even up in Lower Valley, they did 2 separate vaults so that they could keep one circuit energized while they worked on the other circuit, because you can't get into an underground energized vault. There are safety regulations that you just can't do that. You could die. So the vaults are going to be separated. You can only get 1 wire in these conduits, so, you know, there's no sharing a conduit, meaning each phase has to have its own conduit. But, you know, excavation, we're going to go, if we go underground, we're going to dig a big trench that'll fit all the duct banks in it. And then identify Heber Light and Power duct banks and Rocky Mountain Power duct banks, and make sure their cable is getting pulled through their duct banks and our cable is getting pulled through our duct banks and going into the right vaults. We're separate companies. We've got to own those vaults separately. So,
but they are literally right next to each other in the same trench,
yeah,
with the same concrete.
I mean, we're going to be digging. You know, it's not going to be like a trench 100 feet away. We're going to be sharing easement. It's just when we come into those vaults, and we're gonna come into those vaults, and each will own their own vault, and each will own their own duct bank. No different on the pole. You know, they'll own their wires, we'll own our wires. So that's what they're alluding to.
Thank you. I think that's how that misunderstanding may have arisen, and I just want to clear that up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not finding this online. Is it not posted yet?
If you click on the transmission project, you have to top. Towards the top, it says transmission.
Oh, it's not part of the meeting.
There's a link on our website that leads it to the transmission line, so that's pretty quick. It's a separate page because there's so much information.
So for the rate impact, we studied segment 8 and segment 2. We didn't study any other segments, and then we studied complete underground. So going from Highway 40 here all the way to Midway underground, following the proposed route. I mean, we can clearly, you know, look at other segments if need be, but for just the, I mean, this is not a rate study. This is just to give the board an idea of what the rate impact would be if Heber Light and Power customers absorb the cost of the underground. So, and it's not meant to scare anybody. It's just we threw the numbers in and this is what got kicked out. So I'm going to
read the numbers.
We can't see.
Yeah, I'm going to turn the mic back over to Emily now because she's our expert on this. So.